Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Bank of India conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. We have with us today Shri A.K. Das, MD and CEO, Shri P.R. Rajgopal, Executive Director, Shri Swarup Das Gupta, Executive Director, Shri M. Karthikeyan, Executive Director, Srimati Monica Kalia, Executive Director, and other top management team from Bank of India. I would now like to hand the conference over to Shri A.K. Das, MD and CEO. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you for today's interactive session and share with you the financial results of the bank for Q1 of FY 21-22. Q1 of the current year, as you all are aware, was a period during which the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic played its havoc, which was beyond expectations. The banking sector was no exception to this. Not only our business suffered, but our people suffered a lot. Of course, there has been remission in pandemic situation since June. With the vaccination drive in progress, the situation will improve further and activities of all the economic segments are likely to rebound again. During the quarter, the business growth in the banking system, as you all know, remained tilted in favor of deposits, with deposits growing by about 9.8% year on year and advances by 6.1%. Banks, under the guidance of RBI and government, came out with new financial schemes for the healthcare sector in MSME and corporate sectors as well as personal loan schemes. Also, fresh stimulus package announced by the Government of India and restructuring and other measures announced by the RBI have paved the way for a better and conducive environment for growth. Coming to the financial results, our bank has bettered its performance during Q1 over the previous quarter, that is Q4 of FY 21 in several parameters. The operating profit has gone up by 34% to rupees 2806 crore and net profit gone up by 188% to rupees 720 crore. Sequentially also, NIM has improved to 2.16% from 2.01 in Q4 of FY 21. There has been reduction in gross NPAs both in terms of amount and percentage. Gross NPA ratio has improved to 13.51% from 13.77% in March 2021. Slippage ratio has fallen from 2.05% in Q4 FY21 to 1.09% in Q1 of FY22. Similarly, credit cost has come down from 3.36% to 0.95%. All these augur well for sustainability of better performance in future in terms of profitability and efficiency. In terms of business growth, in line with the industry trend, although advances growth remained lower, our RAM advances rose by 11.02%, with all the three segments, that is retail, agri and MSME, registering growth of above 10%. Our CASA grew by 13.8% and its share improved to 43.22% from 41.27% in March 2021. As regards various initiatives, may I bring to the fore that various IT initiatives, including implementation of e-platform, migration to Finacle 10, will be made operational during the current year, enabling the bank to have an edge in digital space. Improved IT-based system is also being put in place for enhancing collection efficiency and recovery mechanism. For business growth and improvement in tax, specialized processing centers are already operating in the area of MSME, retail and agri fields, and depending on requirement, their numbers will also be further increased. For improving profitability and efficiency parameters, we are rationalizing our liability portfolio and augmenting credit growth in RAM segments as well as mid-corporate segments. We expect a business growth of 6 to 7% during the current year with reorientation in liability and asset structure. Along with this, institution of better collection and recovery mechanism will enable us to improve our NIM to at least 2.5% by the end of this financial year. We have already improved our capital adequacy ratio to 15.07% through better management of risk-weighted assets and, of course, infusion of capital in the government, as also through our AT1 bonds raised. We will continue to have a capital adequacy ratio which will support higher and profitable growth. I would again thank you for all the continued support, and I believe the presentation has been shared with all of you. So there may not be a requirement for a detailed presentation. So with this, I once again thank you and open the floor for discussion. Thank you.
So can we open the call for a Q&A session now?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question-answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Before we take the next question, a reminder to the participants again. If you have a question, please press star then 1. The first question is from the line of Sohail Halai from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Evening.
Sir, just a couple of questions from my side. First, in terms of if I look at your margins, it's at 2.16% right now. So in terms of how do you plan to actually move the margins? And secondly, would you continue with your strategy in terms of lending to the PSU corporates, or you are even moving towards a private corporate lending?
The private corporate, we are very open to that. The only issue there is, lack of any capex demand there. See, last year we sanctioned about 92,000 crore. The offtake, as expected and as secularly found across the industry, the offtake was less. This first quarter also, we have sanctioned about 11,000 crore, but the disbursals have remained almost at 20%. So it's a function of the credit demand and the activation of the real segments, which is still some time away, I believe. As regards other segments, RAM segments, and government guaranteed PSU segment, we will continue our foray into that. So the same strategy will continue, but we are open to more of corporate segments also. So I think in the near term, at least up to Q2, the chances of ramping up our corporate exposure very significantly looks little difficult going by the industry trend. But we are not averse to it.
So this actually came in from the understanding as well that your risk-weighted assets to overall assets is actually far, far lower. So probably in terms of when you are seeing some amount of stability in terms of asset quality, are your risk appetite in terms of, if you could speak about, do you intend to leverage more in terms of the credit risk so that your margins could also expand, because that is fairly low right now, right?
The margins are low for a variety of reasons, not alone the one you are mentioning right now. There is a slide in the presentation regarding, our loan distribution amongst various rating categories.
Right.
You will see there that 88% of our portfolio are located in accounts rated A and above, plus government guaranteed PSU-backed accounts. So
right.
You are aware that not too long ago we were the bank which was clamped PCA and all. So we have learned a hard lesson there. That's why we are also trying to see to it that there is no adverse selection and our credit underwriting standards are also prudent. This is one aspect. But I believe the major factors for the low NIM was basically two. One is the transmission impact. See, last financial year onwards, from April 2020, while the repo cut has been to the extent of 40 basis points, we have passed on about 85 basis points to the customers. And MCLR 1 year, I think 60% of our advances are linked to MCLR. And the second thing is, our revenue stream was falling short of our interest cost, primarily because of very high growth in deposits and low growth in advances. So one way forward is, which we are seized of now, is to ramp up the advances numbers. Once the advances number pick up and reach our envisage of 6 to 7% at least overall, RAM segment 14%, I think this volume will help us improve our revenue stream, and accordingly it will help our margins to improve.
So we are growing fairly well in the retail segment.
Yeah.
I assume that will continue. MSE segment would be a little stressful to grow right now, right? So that's why my pertinent question was, are we looking to leverage into the corporate lending as well?
Hey, Sohail, one thing you should understand now.
Yeah.
You also know that hardly any demand in the corporates today.
Right.
Most of them are deleveraging, and high-rated corporates are into bond market, and they are getting very good rates over there. So there is hardly opportunity for us in terms of insofar as our credit risk profile is concerned. So basically, what we are looking at, as rightly pointed out by you, is we would like to grow in retail substantially. One,
right,
where we don't have that kind of issues, and most of them are typically score based, and we get a good margins over there. That is one thing. And MSME, one thing I would like to tell you is there is a stress, no doubt, but thing is our market share is very less. If you see banks like State Bank of India, HDFC, their market shares are in double digits. We are hardly in single digit. We would like to actually grow at 5 by way of inorganic takeover of accounts from other banks. Now, when we talk in terms of takeover accounts from other banks, we are talking in terms of those rated CMR 1, CMR 2, and CMR 3 accounts where we can take over at better rates. See, because of the rate passing on that we have done, we have got one of the best competitive RBLR rates available in the market today. Okay.
Right.
So there is a inorganic credit growth that I can achieve in MSME. Organic, of course, it is difficult. So in that sense, my margins would certainly improve. Another thing I would like to point out is my margins have substantially come down because of my international book, which has squeezed my margins to a great extent because of the global interest rate scenarios. So once it picks up, once the Fed starts picking up all these rates of interest will go up, then my margins there in the international segment book also will improve. So accordingly, my NIM would actually grow on that basis.
Okay. And the other question related to it is, our cost of funds has actually come off, and probably with liquidity being there in the banks for us right now, we would look at a prolonged cost of fund being low, right? So for 6 to 12 months, we would not be hiking the rates in the term deposits any sharply. So we are looking for a cost of fund that would continue to remain low for a longer period of time.
So for two reasons, cost of funds would remain low. Number one is, we have shed bulk very, very aggressively. One. Two, we are already giving a very, very fine interest rates, which is even less than the reverse repo, insofar as the bulk rates are concerned. So there will not be any term deposit growth as such. Instead, what we would grow would be retail term deposit and CASA aggressively. So naturally, the cost of funds would remain low for quite some time to come going forward.
And sir, final question from my side, if you could just quantify the overall restructured book.
Overall restructured book.
Sir, overall restructured book for the bank is 33,147. But in terms of the numbers of first COVID restructuring and second COVID restructuring, first COVID restructuring was to the extent of 7,714, and the second restructuring as on Q1 it was 5,299 crores. But one thing
yes.
notice is when though the first COVID 7,714 was restructured, our borrowers were able to pay back. That means there is a good resilience available among our borrowers. And the present outstanding is 5,968 crores only. That means there is a good traction of recovery in the restructured book as well.
No, sir, I actually did not understand this because the slide 44 that you have given, in that you have given resolution framework 1, which is about 6,000 crores, resolution framework 2, which is about 5,300 crores,
Yeah.
and one-time restructuring about 7,300 odd crores. So these all together put 18,000 crores, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's right.
Yeah, so I should take this as overall restructuring. So I did not understand in terms of 33,000 crores number that you actually mentioned.
Standard restructured.
I was mentioning about standard restructure 18,471.
Okay, so standard restructure is 18,471, right? Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, sir. I'll come back in queue if any more.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Suraj Das from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello sir. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. So I have a couple of questions. First question is on the follow-up of the last question. So your total restructure book would be COVID-1 plus COVID-2 plus the standard restructuring book.
Yes.
Am I?
No, not standard restructured. Yeah. COVID-1, COVID-2, and OTR put together is called standard restructured, my dear.
Okay, so it would be 18,471 crores.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood, sir. And the second question is, sir, upgrade in this quarter, has been healthy, around 2,000 crores. So is this, does this include one of, large accounts, couple of large accounts, or is this over a granular accounts?
Yeah, it is definitely including the one of large accounts. But nevertheless, that is about 65%. The rest of 35% came from regular upgradation.
Okay, understood. And sir, on the recovery side, so what is the recovery pipeline that you are expecting in these couple of coming quarters or for the full year?
Sir, the gross NPA presently it has improved from 13.77 to 13.52, which you are aware. The slide is there with you. Going forward also, if you see the fresh slippages, presently net is 3,942. But overall, if you analyze that, the total fresh slippages were around 8,216, but the net slippage is only 3,942. That means there is a good recovery happening in those accounts which have been slipped also. So going forward also, we will have a very good recovery numbers, sir. We will improve by 3 to 4% per point for Q2. That is our guidance.
You are asking about recovery for the remainder of the quarter.
Remainder of the quarter is around 5,000.
Around 5,000 crores, sir.
8,000 crores we already projected.
Already, our projection for this year recovery is total 10,500 crores. So we have done around 4,000 crores. Now we'll be targeting to achieve 10,500 crores.
Okay, understood, sir. And one last question from my side. So, do you have any other restructuring in pipeline as of now, or this 18,471 crore is kind of the total restructuring that we can take?
We can assure you that none of our eligible customers are left untouched. All of them are being covered. Yes, there is another 2 months down the line. The regulator's dispensation is available up to September. So we will take whatever that comes in our way, and will not allow our customers suffer on account of non-restructuring.
Okay. So any ballpark number for the pipeline restructuring?
Around.
We don't see there are certain eligible accounts. Now the point is, restructuring is basically a function of customer coming forward and seeking restructuring. So that okay. Now initially the restructuring demand was a little higher, but now it has been tepid in the last 1 quarter. But we feel that it will continue to be tepid. So therefore, it is very difficult for us to say what will be the number of amount of restructuring ballpark, and it will also be depend on how the third wave will come about. So it is very difficult for us to predict a number now.
Right, understood, sir. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, if you wish to ask a question, please press star then 1 on your touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Ashok Ajmera from Ajcon Global. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I was in the line. In fact, there was earlier the PNB meet was also there, so there was a overlapping. We came little late. Sir, compliments to you for a very good set of numbers. A good profit of 720 crores. I was a little initial stage. I was not there in this meeting, so maybe my question might be overlapping with some of the questions you might have answered. Sir, I would like to know about the sanctions pipeline, sir. Because on the advances growth only the future will depend. So, what is our sanction pipeline, sir, for this year as on today?
Sir, this year in the working capital, that means overdraft limit and CC, we are having around 30% unutilized limit. Over and above, we are having a current sanction of around 18,000 crore, and recently we have sanctioned 7,675 in 11 accounts. Further, the sanctions are there, but drawdown is not taking place.
All right, sir. So if the way the things are looking and if the economy picks up, third wave do not disturb us. In that case, we can think of some good credit growth. Sir.
Yeah.
And what could be your target for the credit growth, but for all these things, if it doesn't affect the third wave or something, sir, this year?
6 to 7%.
Okay, so effectively about 8 to 9 to 10% will be required in next three quarters, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, this in that provision of 900 crore in note number 9 of the those straight accounts, what is the total outstanding in those accounts for the which could not be resolved in 180 days, 365 days?
Can you please repeat the number? You got the
note number 9 of the audit. Our report, our audited accounts. You know that 900 crore provision for the.
Yes. Yeah. We are aware of that. All on it. You got the number? Very good. Huh? No, that's true. 2,573, Ashok ji.
Okay, sir. 2,000 is a total outstanding.
Yeah. Net outstanding. Net outstanding.
Net or I mean it is 3,473 crore or
1,000.
I mean.
Yeah.
So gross is 3,473 crore.
Yes.
Sir, this treasury has performed again very well, and we have got a very handsome treasury operation. 2,347 crore of the income if you look at the segment wise this thing. So what is our view for the future next 3 quarters on the treasury side, because this is going to be the main component as so far it has been. So how do we look at the future? And my second question with the treasury is that this HTM to AFS transfer of 8,109 crore, which had a book value of 7,495 crore. So this 600 crore book value to transfer value, what is the impact was that on the profit of the bank of this quarter?
Mr. Hari, I would like to take the question.
I'll take that question. The total non-interest income was 2,377 crores, of which there is one account wherein we had a capital gain of 407 crores on account of redemption of SR. There is security receipt. If we exclude that, the other income continues to be robust. And so far as guidance for the next quarter is concerned, there is definitely going to be some amount of moderation in the gains from sale of investment, so also from profit from exchange transactions. But I think this moderation would be offset by increase in interest income. You would understand there is always a trade-off between the interest income and the income from sale of securities. When the interest rates are going up, the interest income goes up, and your ability to profits and make capital gains from sale of securities reduces. So in a way, there will be moderation of around 200 crores in the next quarter. That is what we see.
So I have two small this observation. This note number 22, a penalty of 4 crore has been levied on the bank. Generally, the reasons are given. In this, there is no reason. This just says that the RBI during the quarter has levied a penalty of 4 crore. What was it actually, and whether it is a recurring nature or it is a one-off kind of a penalty?
Sir, this is a one-off kind of penalty based only three reasons were there. This was one is delayed reporting of a fraud account, and second is some KYC issue in small accounts, and third one is transfer to DEF account delay in transfer to dormant deposits to DEF account. Again, that was a one-off case. So there is no question of any recurrence. So these are the reasons for which the penalty was imposed.
And the bank has taken note of it and has set up something like how to...
Yeah, that's what I told. This was a one-off case, so we have taken steps now so as not to happen any kind of a recurrence of this. Now...
And sir, this, yeah, of course, I can understand that. In this PCLC, sir, we paid 46 crore to buy the agriculture portfolio of 2,000 crore. A bank like Bank of India, why it is falling short of the basic requirement of the loan composition, especially the agriculture loan or this kind of things? I mean, are we not in a position to penetrate little more inside and get the agriculture loan portfolio to be up to the limit rather than paying this 46 crore just simply the premium?
No, it's not like that. Whatever we have assumed, actually we are now very aggressive in gold loan segment, and our SKVK also we have activated. So to fructify positive results the way we want, because it's always, if you see quarter on quarter, there is a shortage of 1.5%. That gap will be filled by these measures we have already taken, and coming quarters this type of aberration will be minimal.
Okay, sir. Point well taken, sir. Just last point, sir. This Delhi Metro, out of this 222 crore of outstanding, 124.62 crore is provided. What is the composition of principal and interest in this?
Interest is not provided for my, only principal it is provided.
No. I mean, you see this 222 crore is the total principal?
It is total principal, because see, basically the only asset classification has not happened, Ashok ji. Otherwise वो क्या है, उसमें interest accrual नहीं है, interest booking नहीं होता है ना?
नहीं, but you know, if you look at the other banks, I mean, if the interest income was booked earlier.
अभी नहीं है, वो सब reverse हो गया उसमें, कुछ भी नहीं है, बाकी नहीं है उसमें.
अच्छा. So only about 98 crore is remaining to be provided on that in case anything comes up against.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. I'll come back again if time permits.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Bunty Chawla from IDBI Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. So if you can share the collection efficiency, how it has been April, May, June, July, if it is possible for you, sir.
Sushant, बताओ.
Collection efficiency for sector-wise or month-wise?
नहीं, month-wise है तो.
Sector-wise it is 72% in agriculture.
Sushant, month-wise बताओ. Month-wise बताओ.
Month-wise, in the month of May, it is April it is 94.90%. In month of May, it is 93.67%. June, it is 94.77%. On an average, it is 94.51%.
Okay. And sir, can you share same how the restructured assets are collection efficiency in the restructured is happening?
Restructured assets, most of them are under moratorium. Okay.
So
naturally, there is hardly any collection over there in those restructured assets, because most of them enjoy payment holidays.
Okay. Sir, so can you share what is the restructured plan we have done with the borrowers? How much is the moratorium, and what is the?
It ranges between 6 months to 2 years, my dear. It ranges between 6 months to 2 years.
Okay, sir. And sir, if you can share the data on ECLGS scheme, how much we have disbursed till Q1 FY22?
It's in ECLGS 1.0, we have disbursed about 4,900, take it 5,000. And ECLGS 2.0, we have disbursed 500 crore.
Okay, anything on 3 and 4?
3 and 4 just made a beginning.
Okay, sir. And sir, if you can share any guidance, if it is possible, what will be the slippage ratio in FY22 as we have, if we don't consider the third wave impact and second wave is almost out of the picture for us now. So if you can share any guidance on that, sir?
The slippage ratio has come down from 2.05 to 1.09. There is a very good sign that the recoveries are happening. And going forward also, if the Q3, when the Q is not there, we are aiming to bring down much below 1. So I don't think there will be any problem, because if you see the fresh slippage is also, we have the total numbers are very much at the level of 8,216, but the actual slippages only are 3,942 crores. That means around 50.
Sir, we are unable to hear you.
Hello.
Management speaker, we are unable to hear you, sir. If you've muted the line from your side, please unmute it. Mr. Bunty Chawla, just allow me a minute while I just check the connection.
Yeah, please.
Requesting participants to please stay connected. We are just trying to reconnect the management back to the conference. Requesting you all to please stay online. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently holding the line. We have the management reconnected. Sir, we have Mr. Bunty Chawla online. You may go ahead with the question. Thank you.
Yes, Chawlaji, were you able to hear us?
No, sir. I was on the slippage ratio for FY22. You were saying something on that.
Yeah, so the slippage ratio presently has come down from 2.05 to 1.09 this quarter. So we were just saying that the slippages ratio, which was in the range of 4.81, 31,320, has now come down to 1.05, and maintaining this 1 point itself is a very tough call, and there has been a good response from our borrowers in terms of recovery. That's what we wanted to make a point.
Okay, sir. So lastly, you have shared the sheet on the NCLT. There is approximately 38,000 crores outstanding. So in Q1, we are able to reduce these accounts by 147 crores of reduction. So any ballpark number for FY22, we can have a reduction or a recovery from these accounts, NCLT part?
We are having a ballpark number of around 150 to 200 crores. That's what our numbers are.
You are asking for rest of the... You are asking for the second quarter or for the rest of the financial year?
For full year FY22.
Around 2,000 crores, that's inclusive of, the bigger accounts.
Right.
There are a couple of bigger accounts, If that material is around 2,000 crores will be definitely made possible.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I will be in the queue if for further. Thank you.
Okay, please.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jay Mundra from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So first is on, on the SMA 12012 that you have reported. If you can also include the below 5 crores number, what would that figure be? SMA 210.
33,000 crore. SMA 012 below and above 5 crore, which translates to about 7.96% of our gross advances.
Okay. And sorry, sir, I missed that because I joined a little bit late. But have you mentioned the 012 separately, including everything?
So total SMA 0, will be in the range of 8,158, and SMA 1 will be 8,449 as of 36, and SMA 2 is 16,537. Total, all put together, is 33,144, which has come down from 51,720, which you are well aware during 31/3 to 21.
Right. Now, sir, out of this SMA 2 specifically, the above 5 crores number is very manageable, but it looks like that the stress is more than in below 5 crores, and hence the number is huge. And probably you would have little less monitoring, right? Because this would be like thousands of accounts. So any sense on how the slippages, as you mentioned, that you will try to control it at around 1%, but would this be the major pain area? Which could actually slip going ahead, or how should one look at this number SMA 2, which is mainly from below 5 crores number?
As you rightly said, see, if you take the December results, it was around 80,000 crores. From 80,000 crores, the SMA level has come down to 51,000 crores, 51,720 for March, and now it stands at 33,144 crores. So this deceleration is happening. We are not, as you rightly said, the number is more in the terms of below 5 crores, but we are using this technology for that process and contacting the borrowers and counseling them that this slippages and irregularities should be avoided. The borrower has responded well. So we have vernacular messages are being sent to them periodically, and our follow-up from the AMOs, who are area managers and the branch managers, has been very good, because the data which is being provided to them on a daily basis is well taken by the field, and follow-up is more close. So we are anticipating a lesser pain in that segment, sir.
I think, Jay, I can just sum up in one line: the worst is well behind us now. Having come down so significantly from a very high number, there will be only upside in the right sense. It can only improve further.
No, point taken, sir. Of course, from 80,000 to 33,000 is by no means is a small reduction.
Yes.
Right. Understood. And second question is, sir, on your upgrade, right? So the retail account would have upgraded. I just wanted to check what happens to the bond exposure. There will not be any movement there, right? Because the loan only has been restructured.
Bond is also restructured. Jay.
Okay. So, and then bond will, there would not be any change in the rating or the provisioning, or, it will not come in the movement of NPA anyway, right? Because this is bond.
Yeah.
There is a certain amount of provision that is being held against that, and there would be a mark-to-market provision also.
Right. Okay. And sir, if you can provide some guidance on the credit cost for full year FY22, because it looks like the credit cost for this quarter is around 800-900 crore, and then you include some standard assets provisioning. But how should one look at the for full year credit cost in rupees crores?
See, Jay, it is not going to increase any further. See, one thing is, you know very well that the credit cost is basically a function of incremental provisions. We are not looking at huge provisions going forward. Again, which is again a function of the slippages. If slippages continues to be at the level that we envisage, without taking into consideration the third wave, then naturally credit cost also would continue to be at the same level. So the calculations may get hampered by third wave. Except that, there is nothing that we are really worried about the credit cost. So throughout the year, it will be sub 1 will be the credit cost.
Okay. And what could be the aging provision, sir? Only aging provision required for FY22, assuming no meaningful recovery. What could be the, let us say, outer limit for provisioning for full year 22?
On an average on quarter basis, around 1,000 crores is 1,000 crores accrues by your aging provision.
Okay.
Not 1,000 crores. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, overall, the whole year we're talking about. 1,200 is something the whole year, annual basis. Okay?
Oh.
So that will not be more than that.
Okay.
Because again, the aging provision, most of it, for the in amount of doubtful 1 and 2 are very less now. Most of it is are in substandard because of the COVID impact.
Understood. So that's very helpful. And last two questions, sir. One is on slippages. I think someone mentioned that the slippages at the peak were 8,000 plus, and it has come down to 3,900 crore, which is what you have reported. So just to clarify, this was 8,200 crore was the figure in some months, right? April, May, which have come down as you would have recovered. Is that the understanding or?
Exactly, Mr. Jay. The total slippages which you say 3,942 is the net slippages which you are seeing at the balance sheet level. But actual slippages were 8,216, which we have recovered around 57% of that in this quarter itself. That means there is a good recovery happening in the slipped accounts as well. That's what we wanted to mention that. I hope it's clear.
Right. Yeah, it is clear. It's just that, sir, I could not understand that if you recover an account within the quarter, it should ideally be there in both slippages as well as recovery or upgrade, right? Or you can put it net figure also.
See, there are two ways you represent the numbers. One is the gross slippages and gross upgrades. Another is the net slippages and net upgrade. So the industry, across the industry, except some few banks, most of them represent as net slippages and net upgrade.
Okay. Understood, sir. And last question.
Yeah, it is very pertinent to mention that these numbers, which are quite good, going by the situation now prevalent.
Right.
These are after introducing daily marking of NPA from 15th of April this year. Earlier, NPA marking was being done at month end. So in the month end, certain accounts used to breach 90 days also. But from April 15th of this year, we have started marking NPA on a daily real-time basis. Plus, from 30th June, we have completely automated the IRAC accounting. So going in that context, I think these are good numbers, which we will try to consolidate for this.
Correct. Understood, sir. And last thing, sir, if I may ask, this is a slightly detailed one. On restructuring, sorry to come back on restructuring again, your BSC disclosure says that number is some 8,000 crore, but the PPT says that the number has come down to 6,000 crore. So that is the same number, right? I mean, it's just that people got restructured, but they reduced their balance.
Yes.
Is that the understanding?
Yes, that's right.
Sure. And now, sir, on restructuring, if I were to total, I think you had mentioned that if I want to understand the outstanding standard restructured, I could total 6,000 plus 5,299 and 7,300 one-time restructuring. This would include your MSME scheme also, right? Which was some 4,000 odd crore number.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Understood.
5.0 includes MSME and retail also. COVID 2.0 includes retail.
Correct. And even earlier scheme wherein Air India was restructured, right? So everything is there in this number.
Air India, yes.
That is total.
Air India is
18,471. The total restructuring, including general restructuring, is 31,318.
Okay. So this is standard number, sir, 31,000 crore or?
Not standard number.
Total restructured book. Total.
Total.
Standard restructuring is 18,471.
But that will not include your CDR restructuring, right? Which was, let us say, 1 year back, that number, I mean, the earlier CDR scheme.
No. Standard restructuring will not come. The total restructuring, it will be there. Huh?
Yeah. No, it is.
Correct. Yes. Total restructuring, it includes everything, all kind of junk and muck also will be there in that.
Correct. So that number is 31,000 is standard only, right? It will not include NPA.
No. It will include NPA also. That's what we are trying to tell you. Standard restructure is your number, whatever you are saying.
471 is standard restructuring. Total restructuring is 31,318.
It will include NPA.
All the this as well.
So actually, I wanted to know the outstanding standard restructuring, including the previous schemes also.
18,471.
Okay, understood. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your clarification.
Yeah.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, if you wish to ask a question, please press star then one. The next question is from the line of Ashok Ajmera from Ajcon. Please go ahead.
Thank you for giving the opportunity again. Sir, could you give any update on NARCL, the bad bank? What is the status of those accounts which we have identified, and what is the progress there, sir?
Around 3,500 crore. Total is
There are 12 accounts we have intended to...
Involving 3,500 crore, right? 3,530. 12 accounts, 3,530 crore.
3,530 crore is the outstanding amount of the loan account, 12 loan accounts.
Yes.
So very small amount. I mean, and the valuation might come maybe about 500 crores, a kind of a thing.
Looks like that.
15%.
Okay. So we might get some small amount of cash and rest this thing. So nothing much on that.
No, cleanup of the balance sheet is a major.
Yeah. Whole objective is that only.
Yes.
But when do you think this first lot will be in this July-September quarter it will happen?
Oh, I think it may spill over to the next quarter. Q3 onwards.
Okay. And in all our numbers which we are giving, of the future, this thing, we are considering this 3,530 crore of drop in the gross NPA.
Yes.
Sir, coming back to this, because I was in between, we were locked out or something like this upgradation of 2,057 crores. Sir, what is the composition of it? I mean, how much is restructured and how much are actually regularized or became standard?
That's one-off account, around 65% of that 2,000 and odd crores. But the rest of it is regular upgrades, sir. Around 35% will be of that will be regular upgrades.
Okay. All right. Sir, coming again to this credit growth, sir, can we have the little more clarity? Like you said that unused working capital limit is 30%, and then there are sanctions of 18,000 crores. Can we get some a little more finer points of this, the corporate loans, the credit, the working capital for MSME, or sub-segment wise something, so that we can draw, some kind of a conclusion, something that how much at least are we growing and which are the segment where we are growing?
There are two. One is corporate, the other one is non-corporate, and of course government and PSU-backed entities. So for corporates, as Mr. Dasgupta told, still the drawdown is an issue. Not only for us, for the entire industry, that's an issue. So what will be our endeavor is to grow as much as possible another RAM segment, where we are envisaging a growth of about 14%. Currently, we are trading at 11%. YOY growth. So that is one aspect. Second is, new segments where we will be growing. So, for example, pharma sector, under our Star Care, we have already done about 700 crore. We are planning to build a COVID loan book of about 6,000 crore during this current year. We have made some progress. I think still discussions are on. So that is healthcare and pharma is the one segment where, and renewable energy. Because we are having exposure which are near to the ceiling. So, and of course, now you have seen PMI index moving up. I believe things may come back to normalcy maybe from October onwards. So we are getting ready for that, and the very fact that we have built up adequate capital buffers so that there won't be any kind of roadblocks when we want to expand. But yes, our diligence will continue to be very, very, we'll be very careful and taking entry level, below entry level strict no go, and we'll be going for higher rated accounts. And
Sir, any
overall 6 to 7% growth at the moment is what we envisage.
any thinking on this major co-lending kind of a thing where we can expand the book very rapidly?
Yeah, we are in talks with one or two entities. I think by this quarter we'll be able to come to some. Yes.
Are we also getting into some kind of gold loan also for co-lending, or only the MSME?
Gold loan not yet. Gold loan we are on our own. We are doing well there. So basically in the priority sector only we are looking at.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And indeed the performance is excellent, and I think we'll see much better performance in the coming quarter.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We value your comments.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, if you have a question, please press star then 1. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to Sri A.K. Das for closing comments.
So once again, from entire team of Bank of India, a big thanks to all the analysts friends for interacting in depth on various issues, and as assured in the beginning that we are on a good track now. We will try to move much faster, and we will try to take whatever odds come our way. So maybe going forward, coming quarter, what we started from Q1, you would definitely see further consolidation in that. Once again, thanks a lot to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Bank of India, I announce that this conference call concludes. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines.